If you could say your name and what you do for a job.
Yeah, Erik Van Zijst. I'm a software guy.
And have you had much experience with ASIC stuff or HDLs before?
No, so this is the thing. I have none effectively. I've been in software for over 20 years, and that's it. I think I kind of missed the boat on electronics a little bit early on, and just stuck to software.
And what made you, well, how did you hear about the course?
Yeah, so I've been doing electronics for a little bit, like the last 2 years or so. Yeah, just starting out, very basic, and but I was really interested and sort of, I don't know, just slowly, I think, rolled into the open source community a little bit, or open hardware community, I guess I should say, through Twitter and stuff like that. And then I think early, what was it? I may have seen something in late 2020, I think, from you, perhaps, like in hindsight. It didn't register back then. And then I think it popped up again a couple of times on a podcast, I think. Yes, I think early this year, I listened to a podcast. I'm not quite sure. It's one of the big ones. I forget which one.
Maybe
Where
the Ampower? I think it's been mentioned on
Yes,
the
I think it
Ampower.
was the Empower. Yes, where there was a long discussion about the whole PDK, and at that point, it's sort of like I didn't know what a PDK was, but it sounded clearly interesting, and then from there on, the ball started rolling, and it wasn't until I think, well, it was March, I think mid March, that I think you published or you opened up the enrollment, and I'm like, dang it, like this is this is a golden opportunity.
Yeah. So I guess my next question was going to be, why did you want to do the course? You kind of half answered that. Is there anything else you want to say?
Um, No, like I wanted to do it really because, like as I said, like it sort of the timing felt exceptionally right, and it felt like an incredible opportunity to make a step into like a very different field, and maybe crash and burn because I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But at the same time, I figured like if I don't do it, I don't know how easy it will be to make this step later on. And also it being sponsored by Google, like I don't know if that's going to continue, and otherwise this could be potentially a very expensive dead end. So I figured this I should do it.
Cool. So, in hindsight, now that you finished the course, what was the bit that you enjoyed the most?
Oh, I think HDL, like digital design, I think is the like programming. That's what got me into programming too, right? It's just you're creating stuff. That's the fascinating bit. Now, a lot of this stuff I realize you can do on FPGAs as well. The but the idea of like, well, having an idea now on like the insides of a chip, yeah, rather than software. You write a whole bunch of code and ultimately it runs, right? Like there are very few software engineers, professional software engineers that really know what a chip looks like inside, or much more how it's built. And so getting a scoop into that to the point of actually being able to uh, you know build something that can be produced is, I don't know, that's just fascinating. It's just the cherry on the cake, I guess. Right?
Cool. What for you was the most valuable part of the course?
Um, for me, again, I think the digital design part, the HDL part, uh, like at the end of the day, I think that's like I'm not looking for a career switch in any kind. Like that was not the motivation for doing this. This was the motivation was to just learn something new and sort of expand your horizon, right? But the the HDL part, I think that's gonna be useful like later on. I'm sure. Like I've dabbled with FPGAs a tiny bit now, and I can totally see myself like doing that more in the future. So like the digital design part that's great.
Cool. How excited are you to be on the MBW2 shuttle run?
Oh, very. Like this was like from the start. I think I mentioned it to you. Like that was like whether or not I was going to make it. That was a question mark at the beginning, but that was the motivation. Like if we're going to do this, like we're gonna try it like and do it properly and see if we can get something on the chip. And even if it doesn't work in the end, just the idea that it did make it onto a die, and you can have a photo of that die. Like, that is, I don't know, that's just awesome.
Yeah. So maybe you can give us a quick explanation of what your project actually is.
Yeah, right. So at the beginning, I had literally no idea what I could make, what I should make, what was even feasible, because I didn't know the first thing about HDL, and so I just did random things in the beginning, and that's sort of like it's often nice to build a game, whether it's programming or whatever it is. Like gets I don't know, I always sort of get started like doing a simple game, and yeah, so I got a ball bouncing. I had a display already, so I had it from a hardware project from a while back. I made a dot matrix display and a custom board and everything. So I had it lying around, and that seemed like a good thing to start, like see if I can run the display from from Verilog, and then like do something on it. I added created a ball that was bouncing, and from there it's sort of, well, you almost have Pong, right? And so I figured, you know what? Let's see if we can make this into a Pong. And so that's what it is.
Great. Okay, fantastic. Thanks very much for telling us how you found the course. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I think we've kind of gone over it. I'm really happy with the course. As I said, like, I'm really glad that I joined. At the time, I was, it's always easy to sort of postpone stuff and not do it. Because it's going to be hard and it's very far out of the comfort zone. And I'm very glad that I did. I am way farther now than otherwise I would have been. Like, I fully realize that I'm entirely at the beginning still, obviously. But like otherwise, like, I would not have had this exposure. I'm really glad I did it. It's great.
Yeah, it's been really good to have you on the course. So thanks again.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.